Echoes of Honor, the namesakes and legacies of Pickens and Lamar Counties. In the names we carry. A name is more than a label, it is a legacy. It is a story whispered through generations, etched into courthouses, stitched into school banners, as spoken in reverence by those who remember. In Alabama, our counties are not just lines on a map, they are monuments to memory. So, dear, proud sons and daughters of Alabama, today we're going to honor two counties whose names echo with the weight of history, Pickens County and Lamar County. These are not just places, they are living testaments to the people who shaped them, the soil that bore witness to their struggles, and communities that continue to carry their names forward. Pickens County, the Patriots' namesake. The man behind the name, General Andrew Pickens. Born in 1739 in Pennsylvania and raised in South Carolina, General Andrew Pickens was a Revolutionary War hero whose legacy is etched into the very fabric of the American South. A devout Presbyterian and frontiersman, Pickens was known as the Fighting Elder. He led militia forces in pivotal battles, such as Cowpens and Kettle Creek, earning a reputation for tactical brilliance and moral integrity. After the war, he served in the South Carolina legislature and U.S. Congress, advocating for peace with Native American tribes and the development of frontier communities. When Alabama's government carved out a new county in 1820, they chose to name it after this man, not just for his military valor, but for his embodiment of civic virtue, frontier resilience, and Southern honor. To name a county after Pickens, one legislator wrote, was to remind future generations that liberty is not inherited, it is earned. Established December 20th, 1820, Pickens County was formed from Tuscaloosa County and quickly became a hub of farming, trade, and frontier life. The original county seat was Pickensville, a bustling river town that thrived on steamboat commerce. In 1830, the seat moved to Carrollton, where the iconic courthouse still stands, its weathered bricks holding stories of fire, war, and legend. Pickens County's early years were marked by cotton plantations and enslaved labor, which shaped its economy and demographics. Courthouse fires in 1864 and 1876 destroyed many records, but not the spirit of the people. The Face in the Courthouse Window legend, a ghost story rooted in Reconstruction-era tensions, which continues to draw curious visitors and folklorists alike.
Today's story is about Henry Wells and the face in the courthouse window. The story of Henry Wells is a story that should be told. It was the last year of the Civil War, 1865. On April 5th, those Yankees decided to just come barreling right through Carrollton, Alabama, and wreak havoc. Now, Carrollton is the seat of Pickens County, Alabama, which is somewhere close to Tuscaloosa. Oh, I almost forgot my disclaimer. The opinions expressed in this video, honey, they are all mine. So here we go. The Yankees are coming through Carrollton. You know, it's rural South. There ain't a whole lot. But they did have a courthouse, which was very important to people, because you have to think, this is back in the days where there was no internet. I mean, your deeds to your house, your marriage certificates, everything, it was recorded in the courthouse on paper. Back in 1865, they didn't have copiers and all this kind of stuff. If your records got burned up, honey, they just got burned up. There might be some couples who would be happy about that. Anyway, the Union soldiers decided to come through town, and just as an act of pure meanness, they decided to burn down the Pickens County Courthouse. Well, this was devastating, and there was no reason for it. Well, shortly thereafter, the war was over, but the Union soldiers still occupied the area for a while. I bet that was a little awkward. Anyway, honey, nobody had any money after the Civil War, because if you were rich in Confederate dollars before, you were poorer than a church mouse right now. So nobody had money to rebuild a courthouse, but they all struggled, they scrimped, and they got it together. and they built another courthouse. They thought of that courthouse as a sign of defiance because they had built it right there in front of the Union armies that had burned it. Yeah, take that. But in November of 1876, that courthouse just burned to the ground. And as they were investigating, they said it was arson. Now, who would want to burn a courthouse down? Well, the people were devastated. They were so angry. They were looking for somebody to blame. So along comes Henry Wells. Now, Henry Wells was a freed slave. And if you understand how things were back in that time, that just made the plantation owners and the racists, it just made them furious. They weren't taking losing the war well. Imagine that. So Henry Wells, by all accounts, was what you might have called a ne'er-do-well. I mean, he was kind of a little outside the law. It was said that he had a bad reputation in the community. They said he had a horrible temper. They also said he had been in several brawls and that he carried a straight razor and he wasn't afraid to use it. Now, I don't know if all this is true, but we do know that he did break into some places and he kind of made his money a little bit illegally. Well, I don't imagine there were many job opportunities for a freed slave in those days, so, I mean, he did what he had to do. I'm not saying it's okay, I'm just saying it was a different time. After 2 years of looking for the person who had burnt down the new courthouse, they finally settled on Henry Wells. Now, was he actually guilty? I don't know. There are various stories, but there was nothing to suggest that he actually did have anything to do with burning the courthouse down. Other things? Yeah, probably. The reasoning behind charging Henry Wells is because he was involved in a string of robberies, so they said. And then somebody suggested that the courthouse was one of the places that he had broken into and he just burned it down to cover the evidence. I mean, it's not like they had a big old forensic team to figure it out back then. But the truth of the matter was, there was no evidence, zero, to prove that Henry Wells had anything to do with it. However, the South being what it was, the accusers just came at him in a group and they arrested poor old Henry Wells. Well, this is the story. Henry had tried to escape. They had to hunt him down and he was already a little messed up from the robberies that he had committed earlier in the night. Seriously? They hauled him right into the new courthouse that they had built in 1878. And lo and behold, guess what happened next? Here came the lynch mob. They surrounded the courthouse and they demanded Henry Wells. Well, it's reported that law enforcement wanted him to have a fair trial. I'm not sure that a fair trial was something that a freed slave could have gotten. That was their story, and they're sticking to it. They did say that when Henry Wells was trying to escape them, they had to shoot him twice, and he got shot in the legs, and he was pretty bad off. It has been suggested that Henry Wells' injuries had something to do with a little bit of Southern justice in the back room of the courthouse, if you know what I'm talking about. Because all of a sudden, Henry Wells confessed, so they said, to burning down the courthouse. Well, there is a story that says that Henry and his buddy in crime, Bill Buckhalter, were actually hired by one of the law enforcement officers of Carrollton because there was some kind of evidence in that courthouse that was going to show the officer in a bad light. So, some people said that he hired Henry and Bill to go in there and steal that evidence. But as they were leaving the courthouse at night, sneaking out, one of them knocked over the lantern. And then you can imagine, it was all wood and paper. It just went up in smoke. So they ran and got out of there. Now that rendition is a very little known part of this. What we do know is Henry was actually inside the courthouse with a lynch mob around. It is said that the law enforcement officers took him up for his protection to the highest part of the courthouse. And then it came a storm, a big, ugly storm. And as the rain was falling down and the lightning, and Henry Wells was up at that top window looking out at this lynch mob demanding his hide, he looked out the window and he started yelling, saying, "If you kill me, I will haunt you forever." I don't know if he had a plan or not, but he was successful. So the story goes that in that moment where he was terrified and screaming and fighting for his life, as he was looking out the window, a big flash of lightning came and struck, and his face was imprinted on the glass. But now, before you poo-poo that whole thing, there have been documented cases of lightning and photography that has actually transferred a photo onto another object nearby. The official story of Henry Wells is that he did go to court, he got convicted of arson, but before they could hang him, he died in jail 5 days later because of his wounds. I'm just going to put this out here. From 1877 to 1917 in Carrollton, at that very courthouse, there are recorded 15 acts of lynching. That ranked it the 5th highest in counties in Alabama during that time. Well, after Henry Wells passed away, in whatever manner that happened, they decided to clean that window. They didn't want that face reminding them of what they had done. That's my thought. But strangely enough, it didn't matter what they used to clean that window, that face was not coming off. Now, it said if you were standing inside of the courthouse looking out, you can't see anything. There is no image. But honey, when you're standing down on the street level, let me just tell you, it is quite apparent. And they even have like a little arrow going to that window for the visitors that might come when there's nobody to show them around. And that's the way it was when I visited. Over the years, they've used so many different things to try to get that window clean. And they've also had it examined by numerous people and forensics and anybody who thought that they might could give an explanation. But there has never been an explanation for this face.
Pickens County sent hundreds of men to fight in the Civil War, many of whom never returned. After the war, the county endured the hardships of Reconstruction, racial violence, and economic upheaval. Yet through it all, the people of Pickens rebuilt. Schools and churches became centers of community life. Railroads and highways connected the county to the broader South. The Aliceville POW camp, built during World War II, housed thousands of German prisoners and became a symbol of wartime cooperation and post-war reconciliation. Today, the Aliceville Museum preserves the unique chapter of history, reminding us that even in war, humanity can endure. Pickens today. Modern Pickens County is a blend of tradition and transformation. Farming remains vital, with cotton, soybeans, and timber sustaining the land. Education and healthcare have expanded, with institutions like Pickens County Medical Center serving rural communities. Cultural pride runs deep, from high school football rivalries to historical reenactments and storytelling festivals. To speak the name Pickens is to invoke a lineage of courage, endurance, and Southern identity. It is a name that has weathered storms, literal and figurative, and still stands tall. Lamar County, the county of many names. Some places are born with a name. Others earn it through time, through trial, and through transformation. Lamar County is one such place, a land that has worn many names, but never lost its soul. Lamar County's story begins not once, but 3 times. February 4th, 1867, the Alabama government carved a new county from parts of Marion and Fayette counties. It was named Jones County in honor of E.P. Jones, a prominent citizen of Fayette County. But just 9 months later, on November 3rd, 1867, Jones County was abolished, its boundaries dissolved, and its name erased. Then, in October 8, 1868, the county was reborn as Sanford County, this time named for H.C. Sanford, a local legislator. Finally, on February 8, 1877, the county received its lasting name, Lamar County, in honor of Lucius Lamar, a statesman, scholar, and Southern icon. This evolution of names reflects more than administrative reshuffling. It mirrors the political and cultural upheaval of the Reconstruction era. Each name change marked a shift in identity, allegiance, and aspiration. Who was the man whose name would endure? Lucius Lamar II was born in Georgia in 1825 and rose to prominence as a law professor, U.S. congressman, Confederate diplomat, and later U.S. Supreme Court Justice. He was known for his eloquence, intellect, and efforts at national reconciliation after the Civil War. Though a Confederate loyalist, Lamar later became a symbol of Southern reintegration, delivering a famous eulogy for Charles Sumner that helped heal North-South tensions. To name a county after Lamar was to embrace a vision of dignity, learning, and unity. I hope that Alabama can move forward without forgetting its past. Vernon, the heart of Lamar. The county seat, Vernon, was named after Edmund Vernon, an English immigrant. It became the administrative and cultural hub of Lamar County. The Lamar County Courthouse, built in the early 1900s, stands as a testament to civic pride and architectural grace. Vernon was once a bustling stop on the railroad line, connecting the county to commerce and communication across the South. Today, it remains a center of education, governance, and community life. Lamar County's legacy is one of resilience, resourcefulness, and rural pride. Its economy was historically rooted in farming, timber, and textiles. The county weathered the Great Depression, World Wars, and the Civil Rights era with quiet strength. It is home to historic landmarks like the James Greer Bankhead House and Waverly Mansion, which speak to the architectural and family legacies of the region. The people of Lamar have always been known for their independence and neighborly spirit, a blend of frontier grit and southern grace. Modern Lamar County continues to honor its namesake through education with schools that teach not just facts but values, and veteran recognition, memorials, and ceremonies that reflect a deep respect for service. To speak the name Lamar is to invoke a lineage of intellect, honor, and perseverance. It is a name that has survived abolition, renaming, and reinvention and emerged stronger for it. In the names we bear, Pickens, Lamar, two names, two legacies, one shared truth, that the past is not behind us, it is within us. As we close this chapter of the Alabama Namesakes series on Pickens and Lamar counties, let us remember that the names are not just historical footnotes, they are living echoes. They remind us of who we are, who we were, and who we strive to become. Pickens County, named for the Revolutionary warrior, and Lamar County, named for a reconciler of a divided nation. Both are testaments to the power of memory, the endurance of place, and the spirit of Alabama. So thank you for listening, and join us again next time for Alabama Namesakes.